Now, before I show you 3 very specific things that you need to stop doing and 3 very specific things that you need to start doing to achieve amazing YouTube videos in maybe less than 1 hour per video, we need to address something first. So when it comes to small channels, some people say you should post as many videos as possible in order to get as many opportunities as possible for a video to blow up, to get a lot of views, and also to improve over time and just get better at making videos. The other camp has a little bit of a different focus. It says put more effort into every single video, maybe even script out the whole video, have a lot of B-roll, have a very tight and well put together script, put a lot of time into ideation, into coming up with titles and thumbnails and everything and so forth in order to raise the chance of a video getting a lot of views and getting picked up by the algorithm. And I think, frankly, both are right. What we want is we want to post as many videos as possible with as high of a quality as possible. And the question really is not which one is right, but the question is what is the correct balance. But the reason I say quantity with quality and not, for example, quality with quantity is because I do think there is one point in quantity that is actually underrepresented in this whole discussion. And that is this idea that we can just, by sitting down at the desk and using our brains and coming up with great ideas and spending a lot of time focusing on something, that we can get all the way there to making great videos. And maybe for some people this is true, but I think in general, there is something about repetition, creating a video over and over again that unlocks a certain kind of improvement that you otherwise would probably never get. This is something we cannot test, but I believe there's way more unborn YouTube channels out there with people who have great ideas, but they just never got to make the video because they just were total perfectionists and thought over and over again, oh, I need to add this thing, I need to add that thing, I'm not ready because this is missing and I have the wrong camera and the microphone isn't good enough. And who knows what kinds of limitations people put up for themselves. On the other hand, channels that posted too many videos of too low quality. But thankfully, we don't need to really decide between the two because there are ways of having reasonably high quality videos that people enjoy and get value from and producing them in a way that is not very time intensive. And this is what every small channel wants. And for me as a dad of a 10-month-old, I need every time saving that I can get for creating YouTube videos like this one. So let's start with the don'ts. What should you not do if you want to create high quality videos in reasonably small amounts of time? Number 1, long edits. And what do I mean by that? You know, it depends on who you are and what type of content you have consumed so far, but I recommend you should not spend more than, let's say, maybe 1 to maximum 3 hours on editing your YouTube video. Now, depending on where you are in your journey, this sounds like a lot or it sounds like very little. But I can tell you from experience, if you really go down into the nitty-gritty, you'd use lots of B-roll, animations, sound effects, color grading, and whatnot, you can easily spend 50, 60, 70 hours of editing on one single video. And this might sound crazy for someone with a small channel, but at the same time, there's channels who have lots of views per video and there really every single second matters. But at first, I don't recommend spending much time in editing because it really slows you down. And the reason we can afford to do that without losing video quality, I will talk about in the do's number 2 over here. So make sure to stick around, because that's very important. So when I say long edits are bad, what do I mean by that? Of course, your video should be generally edited. But what I, of course, mean is don't spend really so many hours on fixing every last little detail or making the most sophisticated animation when oftentimes the more basic one does the job. And maybe most importantly, you have to realize that the extra stuff, the extra 10%, that cherry on the top of the cake, that is probably not the bottleneck of your channel at this moment, so you should not spend time on focusing on that part, but rather on getting out more videos with substantial information. Don'ts number 2, don't use complicated gear. I'm gonna be totally honest. I'm using a camera that is fairly expensive. I'm using a professional microphone that is actually not that expensive. I'm definitely breaking this rule here. Why am I allowing myself to do this? Well, I have been making videos for more than 8 years now, so I have all this stuff. For me, it's not a lot of brain work to set it up, to get started, to use all this gear. But for someone who's not professionally making videos for a long time, this is something you should not underestimate. And if I was you, and if I would start out completely from the beginning, I would use probably nothing else but my phone and one of those wireless microphones that you can buy. It doesn't even need to be one of the expensive ones, although they do probably sound a little bit better. But basically just use your phone, use a microphone, don't use the internal one because that's actually too bad in my opinion. And then if you will record it either use a cheap softbox light or do it in front of a window when the sun is shining, and you're good to go. Don't overthink it. Don't use complicated gear. You really don't need it. And don't allow yourself to have this as an excuse. There's channels out there. I think Mr. Beast went to over 100,000 subscribers, or 1 million even, without ever using anything but his phone. In fact, he makes a point of not using fancy cameras because it makes it look more relatable. So if he says so, it must be true. Now, number 3, don't reinvent the wheel. This one, guys, is super important. What does that mean? It means that depending on your niche, chances are there is someone who has been before you who did videos on the very same topic already. And so you kind of already have an idea about what works and what doesn't. Especially for new beginners, especially for small channels. Do not reinvent the wheel. Don't start being super creative and coming up with the craziest ideas that nobody has ever done before. And you can do that, but the point that I'm making is look at the things that have worked and adapt them for your channel. This goes for ideas for videos, this goes for titles, and this goes for thumbnails. And especially regarding titles, you should really use titles that have worked before. And instead of spending hours and hours trying to find titles that have worked before, you can just get them from me. I'm gonna give you 15 proven titles that actually have gotten millions of views across niches and have produced many so-called outlier videos, which are those videos that really blow up channels, because they get many more views than the average video of that channel. So go down in the comment section and comment the word titles, and I will send you the link to the free PDF of 15 proven YouTube titles that you can just adapt for your niche. It really doesn't matter which niche you are, they work in every niche, and I'm using them myself as well. So to recap, don't reinvent the wheel. Use things that have worked before. Get inspired by the thumbnails in your niche, get inspired by the titles in your niche and the ideas themselves, and then just make them your own. Don't just blatantly copy them, make them your own. Put a little bit of a twist on, be authentic to yourself, but don't start from scratch. Now, those were 3 things that you shouldn't do, but now the question becomes, what should you do in order to achieve quantity with quality? And step number 1 is clear points. Now, what do I mean by that? When we talk about the act of production, the very video production of your video, it's important that you know what you want to talk about, because otherwise it's going to end up in rambling, and rambling means you have a lot of editing to do. So if you don't want to go through the hassle of writing a full word-for-word script, and you also don't want to go through the hassle of having to edit a lot in the software, then you need to find a way to be concise in the way you speak and very specific on the things you want to say. And the best way to do that is to have some kind of bullet points, or even to use something like this whiteboard as a reference for what you want to talk about. That's what I mean by clear points. Don't just wing it totally. Have prepared what you want to say. Which brings me to number 2. And this, guys, this is a big deal, because this makes all the difference for having videos that are very engaging, that can achieve a good retention rate on YouTube, and at the same time are really easy to produce. And you are seeing me doing this very thing right now. Use props. And now this is actually one of the coolest things. This whiteboard that I'm using right now has the function of a script. So I have my bullet points here. I know what I want to talk about. It has the function of an animation or a graphic. You can say this is something like B-roll. Basically, it just keeps you more engaged watching, because it's not just me talking like this for 20 minutes. Instead, I'm showing you things. We're right here working together. This is something you can look at. It's basically functioning like an animation. And this is kind of genius, because you can do a lot of things at the same time without spending a lot of effort. Writing down this whiteboard was my preparation for the video. In fact, to be honest, what I do first is I write it down on my iPad like this, and then I transfer it to the whiteboard, so I don't have to do it twice in case I make a mistake and something doesn't fit. So I first write it down on my iPad, then I write it on the whiteboard. I have my bullet points ready. I have something engaging to show you ready. And guess what? I'm even using this for my thumbnail, as you have seen before. My thumbnail was something like this. Boom, you have an exciting thumbnail. And so this is my way of using props. Now you can use really anything you want. You can use little magnets in order to show something. You can make use of a piece of paper. You can use all kinds of stuff to demonstrate things. And it doesn't only need to be something where you write down something. You can also use anything visual to compare things. For example, you can say you can get a lot of views versus very little views. I can say that with my words, or I can show you with the things I have here in my hands. Props can fulfill the function of everything that you otherwise would put on screen in the editing. Can be graphics, animations, overlays, everything that you put on screen. And the reason this is so cool is because you save a lot of time because you already get it done inside of the video. You don't need to edit anything anymore. And here is actually a point where I'm curious. If you have any cool ideas of how you can use props to make your videos more engaging, just write them down in the comments and let's share some tips with one another. Point number 3, efficiency. Now you can have a lot of efficiency during the recording of the video as well as during the editing and uploading of the video. And now here's the deal. If you want to see exactly how I can get a video like this done in less than 1 hour, including filming and editing and uploading, then comment down below the word efficiency. And if enough people say yes, then watch this video next where I show you exactly what I just asked you if you want to watch it. And if not, well, in that case, just look over here where I show you exactly how to get outlier titles if you want more than the 15 outlier titles that I just gave you by commenting the word titles.